Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday afternoon, February the 15th. We have another accumulating snow event coming to the Mid-Atlantic region. Looks like later Friday evening into Saturday morning. The preliminary snowfall estimates on my part are about 2 to 4 inches in and around the Washington, D.C. metro region. Similar, 2 to 4 inches in and around Philadelphia. Certainly can be some isolated higher amounts in both of those metro regions, probably on the order of 1 to 3 inches in the New York City metro region. Again, we're talking later Friday evening into Saturday morning. This looks like it will be a drier snow, more of the light, fluffy variety as compared with the heavy, wet snow that we had earlier in the week. A couple of interesting factors that we'll talk about here that favor some snow accumulation, and there are a few factors that don't favor snow accumulation. We'll talk about that over the next few minutes. First of all, let's start off here with the very latest, a 12Z run of the conventional version of the GFS. What we're looking at are total liquid equivalent precipitation amounts over the next few days. This goes all the way out to Sunday morning. I just want to point out, in the Mid-Atlantic region, we're talking about perhaps a quarter inch or so, and that, by the way, includes some rain or snow shower activity from this evening, primarily north of the Mason-Dixon line, but generally on the order of, let's say, a quarter inch of liquid equivalent precipitation. That will still be able to result in a few inches of snow, because this snow, again, will have a high snow to rain ratio. Typically, you're talking about a 10 to 1 ratio of snow to rain, so that a quarter inch could result in 2.5 inches of snow. This particular scenario, we will have cold air established at the front end of this low pressure system. That's as opposed to what we had earlier in the week, when there was a lot of warm air initially that ended up having to be replaced by cold air, and hence the change from rain to snow. Because the snow to rain ratios in this particular setup may be more in the order of 12 or 13 to 1, we could squeeze out a few inches of snow even with minor liquid equivalent amounts here. By the way, Florida gets hit by a decent amount of rainfall later part of the weekend, and similarly the next few days we'll see another California storm system or another Pacific Ocean storm system move into the West Coast. Well, one of the key ingredients for the upcoming snow event, again, later Friday evening into Saturday morning, is a very impressive jet streak in the upper part of the atmosphere. Jet streak is a kind of a small area of enhanced winds in the overall jet stream. Again, it will typically have higher winds than out ahead of it or higher winds than behind it. And this is the forecast map for early this afternoon at the 250 millibar level. This is up in the upper quarter of the atmosphere here. Very strong jet streak here. And we'll see as we move forward here, it slides to the north. And here we go by the middle of the day on Friday. And then by Friday evening, tomorrow evening, a very impressive 250 millibar jet streak. And really, meteorologists like to look at jet streaks. They are very important because you can kind of determine where upward motion will be by dividing the jet streak into 4 quadrants. And in this particular quadrant, which will be right over the Mid-Atlantic region later tomorrow night, there will be upward motion. Basically, we're talking about divergence in the upper part of the atmosphere and convergence down in the lower part. This will be an area of upward motion that will result in the accumulating snow places like DC, Philadelphia, and New York City. So indeed, this upper level jet streak is a key factor in here. Again, a lot of upward motion late tomorrow night into early Saturday morning, enhancing the chance for this accumulating snow. The jet streak will continue to propagate off to the east, and later in the day on Saturday, it'll become dry and cold and windy in the Mid-Atlantic region on the heels of this low pressure system. Well, another key ingredient to the snow that's coming to the Mid-Atlantic region is a reinforcing cold air mass that will follow the passage of a cold frontal system later on this evening into the overnight hours. There will be low pressure area moving up from west to east across New England, causing some accumulating snow later today over New England. And it will pull a cold front through the mid-Atlantic region. You see right now we're a little bit above normal in the lower levels of the atmosphere. This is the forecast map of the 850 millibar temperature anomalies from the 12Z run of the GFS. And we'll just push forward here, and we'll see that we get colder than normal. A reinforcing cold air mass arrives by early Friday morning in the mid-Atlantic region on the heels of the passage of a cold frontal system. That will play a key role. I believe in this particular setup, it'll be all snow, all the way down to the DC metro region. And again, cold and dry enough for the rain, snow-rain ratio to be a little higher than normal, maybe 12 or 13 to 1. That allows for a lighter, fluffier snow that it can accumulate a little bit quicker with a little bit less liquid equivalent precipitation amounts, and hence 2 to 4 inches, maybe even isolated higher amounts. DC, Philadelphia, a little bit farther away from the low pressure area up in New York City, expecting maybe 1 to 3 inches in that area. That colder air really moves on in full force later in the day on Saturday. This is the midday Saturday forecast map, and in fact this will follow that low pressure system with some colder than normal conditions for Saturday afternoon, and we'll see Saturday night and into the day on Sunday. This is midday Sunday. Early next week, a warm-up that first begins out over the central plains. The northern plains will extend to the east coast by the early and middle part of next week. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps. Again, this is from today's 12Z run of the GFS, and we have this low pressure area now over the eastern Great Lakes. It moves basically from west to east and will in fact produce some accumulating snow over New England over the next several hours here. Let's move forward here, and it plays a key role in that it slides that cold frontal system through the mid-Atlantic region later on tonight, and by the time we get to early tomorrow morning, we have a reinforcing shot of cold and relatively dry air. And again, this low pressure system arriving for Friday night, Saturday morning in the mid-Atlantic region will indeed have some cold air well established by the time it arrives later on tomorrow evening. That's contrary to what took place earlier in the week when there was warm air ahead of that storm system that came in early in the week in the mid-Atlantic region. Then we move forward here, and here we go with this area seen over the Tennessee Valley by tomorrow night. And again, remember that key player here, that impressive upper-level jet streak, kind of sliding slowly to the north and east, and will set up right in this region right here, along with the frontal boundary zone right in this region right here. That low-pressure area moves along the frontal boundary zone that settles in the southern mid-Atlantic later in the day on Friday, and then that impressive 250 millibar jet streak enhances upward motion in the mid-Atlantic region. Cold enough for snow, again, all the way down to the DC metro region. Even though it's a weak low-pressure area, a fast-moving low-pressure system, the factors that will contribute to some accumulating snow, again, strong upper-level jet streak enhances the upward motion. That's the key to look for an area of strong upward motion. Even without a lot of available moisture, it will manage to find the moisture when you have the dynamics, and that is what should take place later tomorrow night into early Saturday morning. By Saturday morning, it's moving off the coast, just kind of a relatively weak low-pressure area, but again, a lot of cold, dry air in and a strong upper-level jet. You have upward motion right in this DC to Philadelphia to New York City corridor. Now, New York City is kind of on the north end of the main area of precipitation, and that's why I'm kind of calling 1 to 3 inches maybe in New York City, and again, 2 to 4 isolated higher amounts Philadelphia down to DC. Maybe down southeastern Virginia is where you have to go for some rainfall. And it moves away Saturday afternoon, probably some sunshine later Saturday afternoon in the mid-Atlantic region. Here comes that rain out of the Gulf of Mexico towards Florida over the upcoming weekend, and it stays quite cold and breezy right through the day on Sunday in the Mid-Atlantic region. And here it is on Sunday, dry but cold and breezy, and a lot of rainfall down across Florida, and another storm system moving in on the west coast with snow at the inland higher elevation locations and rain at the low-lying areas. So a decent snow amount coming for D.C., Philadelphia, and even New York City later Friday evening into early Saturday morning, and the rest of the weekend will be cold and breezy. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.